Awesome.
Big.
Rock.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Extraordinary.
Profound.
TED. It stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. The TED Conference was started in 1984, and has since brought countless inspirational speakers all over the world to talk in front of audiences ranging from small gatherings of family and friends to forums of thousands. All of these conferences have had one goal in common: to spread great ideas. The original, official TED Conference occurs annually in a major city, with this year's event being hosted in Vancouver. Our goal, simply stated, is to continue the legacy of TED and create our own, smaller version of the conference catered specifically for our high school. We call this idea TEDx Monta Vista.
You might ask, does Monta Vista really even need a TEDx conference? Well, currently there are no existing programs in Monta Vista to spread ideas like TED. Clubs such as DECA and FBLA have conferences, but those are purely competitive. And though Monta Vista's English departments hosts annual TED video project showings, those are relatively limited in audience and in scale. In addition, there are currently no TED or TEDx conferences compatible for Monta Vista students. The only official TED conference this year is in Vancouver and costs upwards of $7,500 for a ticket, and has an audience limit of 1,200 attendees.
Sunnyvale, Gunn High School, and Apple have their own TEDx conferences, but they are all difficult to access both physically and topically for Monta Vista. Sunnyvale and Gunn are physically too far away, and while Apple hosts a TED conference in Cupertino, it is a TEDx corporate event and solely discusses business. With the implementation of a conference at Monta Vista, the community would have the opportunity to attend a TEDx event conveniently, and without having to spend extravagant amounts of money. TED can also serve as more than just a place to share ideas. Students or teachers can come in after a long day of classes and just sit back and relax. TED presentations can be fun, engaging. There is a reason the E in TED stands for entertainment. Here we interviewed Ms. Collins, who was interested in helping us on our TED project. This is what she said.
I think the students in this community would love to have a TED conference. I think they would totally enjoy it, and I think it would be a very cool thing. I think the kids, particularly at the school, have very wide interests, and they're constantly trying to look for something outside of the school environment, which I think they often feel has sort of a linear trajectory for their education. And they're the kinds of kids that kind of exposure could do some really big stuff for them, get their minds going.
To implement our plan, we will create a TEDx club at Monta Vista. We already have a teacher willing to be the club advisor, and information from our survey shows that we have more than enough students interested in helping us start this club. We are familiar with all the work needed for Monta Vista's club application process and TED's conference licensing system, and we have already gathered the information needed for the paperwork. Club meetings would consist of TED video viewings and activities related to conference planning, like speaker curating and creating publication materials for the conference. We plan to have major TEDx Monta Vista conferences on a tri-monthly basis while hosting smaller, monthly conferences in the library or in classrooms. As club commission applications have closed for the year, we will use the support of Monta Vista's robotics team to help us run the first conference.
The TEDx MV Club will be responsible for later conferences. The larger conferences will be hosted in venues like Monta Vista's auditorium and will be open to everyone. A vast majority of the award money would be spent in hosting the club's first conference. Later, major conferences will be funded with ticket sales. Although TED's limit on TEDx ticket prices is $100, we aim to keep prices affordable for all students at under $20. This money will be necessary for recording and equipment, catering, publication materials, and renting venues, and make this TEDx program a sustainable project. In between TEDx Monta Vista events, we will host smaller and more casual TEDx conferences.
These conferences will be open only to the Monta Vista community and will feature fewer speakers and rely more heavily on pre-recorded TED content. Starting a TEDx club and hosting TEDx conferences at Monta Vista will not only encourage the spreading of ideas, but also greatly benefit the community as a whole.
Ideas, empowered by TED, have the potential to become more than just intangible thoughts in someone's head. TED lets these ideas become reality.